357 SIG versus 357 Magnum, and today I have our Corbon jacketed hollow point ammunition. Both of these are 125 grain jacketed hollow points, so this should be an interesting test. Our 357 SIG is rated at 1425 feet per second, which is actually a little bit higher than the rated for this particular 357 mag of 1400 feet per second, but they're very, very close. So for guns used, I'm using my 5-inch barrel M&P 40 with a 357 SIG conversion barrel versus our 4 1/4 inch Smith & Wesson 686. And the reason why is because when we look at the gun sizes, overall they're about the same, but mostly it's because we have about the same amount of barrel travel in those guns. So when we compare something like that, you know, a 4-inch revolver, you do want to compare it to a 5-inch semi-automatic so you can get overall a fair comparison of bullet travel and gun size. If I were to compare a 4-inch revolver to a 4-inch semi-automatic, you know, the barrel length would line up to about there if we lined up the back. So that's the fair way to do it. So we're going to go through the chronograph, see what kind of velocity and accuracy we get at the same time. Then I'm going to do my 10% clear ballistic test. So we're just going to go into plain clear ballistics with no barriers in the way, no denim or anything like that, because that'll give us kind of our best case scenario for the bullet to expand and all of that, and to do a good job. And then after that, I'm going to put on 4 layers of denim on the front of this gel block here, and then after 3 inches of clear ballistics, which is representing our pectoral muscle, I'm going to put in a 1/4 inch medium density fiberboard to represent hitting ribs or sternum. And that's more of our real world simulation rather than best case scenario, because that's going to be more like going through clothing and then hitting bone and all of that. So we'll see how those rounds compare like that, and then I'm going to shoot at my steel silhouette and see what kind of practical accuracy we can get. So let's get started with this test. All right, first up we have our 357 Magnum rated at 1400 feet per second. Let's see what we get out of my 4-inch barrel Smith & Wesson here. See how close we get to 1400. 1328, and that had very low recoil, so I'm going to say that number's right. 1215, 1247, 1268, 1270. So very far below rated velocity, and those are right because the recoil on this felt like hot 38 special ammo. So that's interesting that they're really showing that to be much lower than what they're saying it is. 357 SIG. Now in my experience, a lot of companies, they'll inflate the 357 Magnum, but they'll make the semi-autos as fast as possible. So these are rated at 1425 feet per second. So let's see what we get with our 357 SIG. 1454, exactly my point made. I see this all the time. 1470, 1455, no read. 1456, 1455. So again, I'm seeing this all the time, above rated velocity with semi-autos, but companies put no time into the revolver loads. They inflate the numbers and then give terrible performance. So that's what we get with that. So let's hit our ballistics gel block and see how these compare. All right, 357 mag, plain gel. Let's see what we get. All right, let's compare that to our 357 SIG here. We'll take a look. And what you might expect, except, you know, the 357 mag actually did pretty well, to be honest here. Definitely less damage, and there would be less with significantly less power. But what we're looking at with our 357 mag is our bullet went all the way up to about 14 3/4. It came back a little bit and rested at about 12 1/2 there. But we do got some expansion. That's definitely an XTP because it's kind of controlled expansion. With our 357 SIG, we have fragments all the way up here busted off. We have a huge amount of cutting damage here. And then we went to a penetration of about 16 1/2 inches, and we definitely got full expansion. So let's put on our MDF and our denim and see how that compares. All right, denim and MDF with our 357 Magnum. So let's see what this does for us. All All right, let's try our 357 SIG. All right, same thing, 357 SIG. See how this compares. Let's go take a look. All right, so here's our MDF, and we can see here, you know, I went through this way with our, looks like our 357 Magnum down here. And, you know, you see these weird little marks in here, like we might have a little bit of fragmentation or something busted off, but, you know, we can see more of a controlled expansion thing going on. With our 357 SIG, it's more violent, bigger hole starting, but what we can see here, this kind of illustrates why the XTP is a good hunting bullet. Going through our MDF and everything like that, we got a nice straight line, and we got expansion, and we got a penetration of spot on of about 17 3/4, so that's pretty perfect. We have really good expansion. Now with our 357 SIG, that barrier with our bone simulation really did sort of affect it a bit, and you know, it still did really well. We were at about 13 1/4 inches, really good expansion. So despite the fact that that 357 is low loaded, I'm really disappointed that they rated it like that. Despite that, it is a very good performing round, and it had a lot less recoil than typical 357 Magnum. So we'll see how that affects my shootability with those rounds, and we'll see how the 357 SIG compares to it. Because honestly, I think the 357 SIG had about equal recoil to the 357 Magnum, because the pistol's a little bit lighter. So that should be interesting. So let me shoot at my steel and just see how they compare. All right, 25 yards from the target. Ammo's not too impressive, but I do want to see its accuracy. But since I have this opportunity, what I want to do is I want to address a lot of things that people say about reloading revolvers. They're saying they're super slow and they're harder to do, but they're getting the wrong gear. You know, I have a Safariland Comp 3 here. It's about the same size as a semi-automatic magazine. Therefore, when you grab it, you know, your ability to grab it is a lot easier than those little tiny knob speed loaders. So it really does kind of even the game when it comes to reloading a revolver quickly. So I want to see how I can reload this. I'm just going to set this in my pocket, fire off a shot 25 yards, reload, and just kind of show you how that works. And there we go. So not as fast as I could possibly do it, but you can see there, you know, with the right practice, you can take something like this and you can really get fast with punching those things in. So my example I showed was really a terrible example, so don't take that at face value, but I can do it a lot faster, and I can see a lot of people do it a lot faster than me, but that's our general concept there. So let me try our 357 SIG, see how that compares. And we saw with accuracy there, you know, that ammo is just below flinch level. You know, sometimes you get to ammo that's, you almost want to flinch, but that, like, again, it feels like hot 38 plus piece. So placing those rounds was not a big deal. So 357 SIG, see how this does. All right, feels like very shootable ammo. So let me back it up and try to place some shots on target. All right, 75 yards from the target. Let me see what I can do with this 357 mag. See if I can make a hit with this. I think I may have hit high. Left. Left. Wow, I did terrible. It just kind of felt like they were going all over. I figured that would have shot excellent for me considering the 25-yard mark, but I think they're going just slow enough. They're kind of jumping up a little bit. So 357 SIG, we are a lot faster, so it should shoot flatter. Let's see what I can do with this. I had a very tiny malfunction where it's just Well, primer backed out actually. Never had that happen. I lost it, but I saw a primer sitting there, so a primer backed out. Definitely not the fault of the pistol when you see something like that. So come on, Corbon. Primer was just sitting there, so they're going a little bit hot with that pressure with this. One last round. All right, so, you know, overall it seemed like good ammo at first, but then I'm starting to see some stuff, you know, I'm just not loving here. Our ballistic performance was really, really good, and our gel block, we got, you know, everything we want to see despite the velocities. Everything seemed pretty good. And we got what you might expect. You know, our 357 mag, actually, I'm going to say overall here, our 357 mag felt like a better round here. It used a pretty good bullet, and it had pretty good performance. And even though it was really low loaded, that added to the shootability. So I would definitely recommend this round for self-defense for somebody that wants something a little bit higher than a 38 plus P, but something that shoots really similar. Really good round. It probably wouldn't do very well in a snub, but in a 4-inch barrel, it felt really nice. Our 357 SIG, you know, we have the power we want, but if you can see here, there's an issue there with that primer backing out. And that's just something that I don't want to deal with. But overall, though, ballistically, they both did pretty well. So that's what you get today. So take it for what you will. So as always, comment, share, and like, and thanks for watching. I have no idea what I even did. It had something to do with that semi-auto. This is what I've done many times out in the woods. Take our duct tape here. It's actually like Gorilla Tape stuff. And we make ourselves a Band-Aid. Later on, I'll address that issue.